Jason, thank you, and welcome inside the incomparable Pete Maravich Assembly Center. Alex Perlman and Anastasia Webb with you for this Titan matchup between a couple of Tigers. You got number 2 LSU, one of the top teams in the country, against 17th ranked Auburn as they try to pull the upset. Welcome to Friday Night Heights, presented by Sprouts Farmers Market. LSU looking to put an entire meet together here in Baton Rouge. The weekend before Mardi Gras. Should be a big party here. We're excited you're along with us. 4-time national champion Anastasia Webb. I'm Alex Perlman. This is a team that has their sights set on a potential national championship. But head coach Jay Clark for LSU told us they have yet to get all 4 rotations in at once. This could be the meet.
100%. LSU has a lot of potential. They got star power, they got depth and talent, but it's really going to come down to this moment because, like we said, they haven't had a breakthrough movement, and they need to perform on all 4 events to remain competitive and to be number 1 in the national championship.
Auburn is a team that admittedly is struggling a little bit, according to head coach Jeff Graba, but they're getting healthier and they're getting the routines back. But they have struggled, especially on the road this season. Only a 196.075, 196.7. That's not going to compete for an SEC championship, and that's a great opportunity here tonight to post a good score.
100%. These road meets and these home meets contribute and impact your NQS, your national qualifying score, which ultimately determines where you're going to end up in the postseason.
And you are going to count all away scores this season. If Auburn is going to pull a big upset, these 2 young women are going to have a lot to do with it.
Julian Huff and Marissa Neal, they are the star athletes for this Auburn team. Julian, the 5-star recruit, past 2 seasons, she was limited to 2 events, but now has really taken over that leadership role and has been delivering meet after meet. And then we got Marissa. She's 22nd on the balance beam, and she can be stellar.
So can Kaylin Chio, who already has the only perfect 10 this season on beam. She is one of the stars on a very talented LSU roster.
Kaylin Chio, she is the definition of dominance, and she has such a significant responsibility on this team. She is the key player meet after meet, and I'm telling you, Alex, she is on the hunt to be the 2026 national champion in the all-around.
And then you throw in the unknown of really the number 7 gymnast in each rotation, which is the crowd here. Always electric. They sold out their first meet of this season, and they have won 17 straight here in this building. Here's how it works in collegiate gymnastics in a dual meet. 6 gymnasts per team competing in each event. You only get 1 mistake. That is it. The best 5 scores count. The lowest is dropped. Home team event order is also known as Olympic order. It'll be vault, bars, beam, and then floor for LSU. Let's get us going here on vault for the Fighting Tigers, as they love to call them here in Baton Rouge. Lexi Zeiss will start it off. They had a season-high 49.475 last week, a meet that, Jay Clark said was a little bit disappointing. They had season lows on both bars and on beam, but this is one of the best teams in the country on every event, but specifically on vault, where they rank number 3.
And this is the event that can be a game changer for them. They have a 10.0 start value vault on each and every single athlete that we're going to be seeing here tonight.
Lexi Zeiss will be doing what's called a Yurchenko 1.5. It starts, as you mentioned, Anastasia, at a 10.0 start value. And that can be a real difference when you're talking about into the postseason that sets teams apart from advancing out of regionals, advancing to Fort Worth, to nationals, eventually to the national championship, and who is holding the trophy at the end.
This leadoff position is extremely important. They're looking for Lexi Zeiss to perform with excellence, and I loved how she had a controlled landing. Great leadoff from Lexi.
She leads off on vault and bars. Added beam this year as well. She's been a real contributor for them. Auburn, this has been the Achilles heel. Have not scored higher on bars than 48.7 the last 2 weeks. They had to count Charlotte Booth's 49.325. Marissa Neal also fell. She is out of the lineup here tonight. Julianne Huff, they need a big one from her. She had a career high 9.925 to open it up last week.
Beautiful Maloney to Bale combination. Was a slightly short on that handstand. Going to be about a 10th deduction, and she does take a large step forward, resulting in another 10th.
It is all about confidence on this event, according to head coach Jeff Graba, now in his 16th season at the helm of the Auburn Tigers, the three-time SEC Coach of the Year. But these scores are not going to cut it for a team in Auburn that not only has postseason aspirations, but they want to make the national championship again.
I completely agree, and a little bit of advice to these ladies, they got to compete like they own this arena from Auburn.
Here's Victoria Roberts making her collegiate vault debut, the sophomore from Bellechasse, Louisiana, right next to New Orleans.
Unique vault here, a front handspring to a front pike half, and this arena is already electric.
Welcome to college gymnastics and the PMAC, Victoria Roberts.
The heel drive was incredible, which allowed her to have enough momentum and amplitude off of that vault table, and she was able to find that landing. Other than that slight of a circle of an arm swing, that is the only area where the judge is going to be taken off.
And it follows up Lexi Zeiss's 9.85. Good start for a very solid vault team in LSU. Here's Emma Grace Boyd, a 9.6 in her season debut. She's been out of the lineup, though, working through a bit of an injury.
And even though she's been in and out of this lineup, she is technically one of the best uneven bar workers on this Auburn team. It's exceptional from her toe point, the amount of pressure she puts on the bar.
Oh, they needed that.
Love the control landing on that double tuck. Beautiful execution on that bar rotation.
And just a 9.775 for Julianne Huff in the leadoff spot. You really don't want to count scores below 9.8.
The hips are so floaty, allowing her to have enough backswing to put pressure on that connection. Feet are glued, legs are glued, and just that stutter on that landing. But other than that, great comeback.
9.85, 9.875 here for LSU. Here's Courtney Blackson, who spent her first 4 years at Boise State, took last year off before coming to LSU. When the Tigers were there to recruit, Jay Clark just said, hey, anybody else got any eligibility? She did, and she's here.
And unfortunately, she did not have enough of that block off of that table, which resulted in that under rotation on that landing. Going to be a big deduction, about a 3/10 deduction, I would say. Hits that table with a shoulder angle, and then doesn't have enough rotation on that landing, resulting in that under rotation.
That is going to be the score that LSU will hope to drop here as they look to also break into the 9.9 range for the first time. Waiting on Emma Grace Boyd's score for Charlotte Booth. She fell last week and was short on every handstand, as well as did not put the dismount to her feet. Has been kind of struggling on bars this year, which is surprising because, I mean, this is an alternate for the Paris Olympics for Great Britain in 2024. We know what she is capable of. Now can she just get her confidence back?
And we talked about this with head coach Jeff Graba. They've lost confidence on this event. They need to visualize. They need to stay in the moment and trust their gymnastics because they are incredible during practice. And she's changed up this routine a little bit to handle the pressure. She's going to go back up to the high bar. That is called a Van Leeuwen. Would have loved to see her feet to be a little bit more glued together. And finishes it off with a huge double layout. Legs were a little bit separated throughout the air.
But a positive start so far here with that 9.8 from Emma Grace Boyd, too.
Judges are looking for that handstand to be completely vertical, and as you can see here, she is not in that vertical position. Going to be about a 10th deduction.
Only get 10 degrees there. So if you're not in that 90 to 80 range, you are going to get a deduction from the judges. Here's Kalia Lincoln opening up her night, the sophomore from Frisco, Texas. Only her fourth vault of the year. She did 9.875 last week. We'll see another 10.0 start value from her Yurchenko 1.5, and Blackson scored 9.625. They are certainly hoping to drop that one.
Alex and I saw her stick this in the warm-up.
And in competition.
Incredible. Her height, her elevation off of that table is just incredible. We talked about how much power she has as an athlete. The block, straight arms, feet are glued, opens up those arms to limit that rotation. Completely glued together. You can see her spotting. But Alex, I don't think I would call that a stick completely. She did have a little bit of a hop backwards, but almost close to perfect.
Yeah, that was an excellent vault. We'll see what the judges think of it. Charlotte Booth with a 9.75. They're going to try to drop that here for Caitlin Kiko Jung, the former elite, who's just getting her feet back after tearing her Achilles last February.
On that release move up to the high bar, she did have a significant leg separation, but beautiful dismount in the air execution-wise, but did have a little bit of a step backwards on that dismount.
And Jeff Graba told us it's the landing that she is really working on. That's the toughest part for her right now because of the previous injury.
Here's that landing that we're gonna see here. Does take 2 steps backward. Gonna be a significant deduction. A small step is up to a 10th deduction, and she took 2.
Here's Amari Drayton following up the 9.95 from Kalia Lincoln. You want the scores to continue to build as you get further and further along. LSU is going to look potentially for something in the high 197, low 198 range if they can put 4 events together.
And she is another athlete that has so much power. She is capable of one of the best Yurchenko fulls in the country. So beautifully executed in the air. Gymnastics is so difficult, especially having that much power. The force to absorb in just less than 2 seconds. Beautiful execution. I would say I would love to see her absorb that landing a little bit more and limit that rotation by stalling out her arms.
Just that hop, though, on the 1.5. Starts at a 10.0 start value, and then just Kaylin Chio to come, who had a 9.975 last week. Almost perfect. Let's see if Olivia Greaves can come back and get more confidence on this event as well. Only a 9.725 for the redshirt junior from Staten Island, New York. Almost fell on the landing.
A very impressive and difficult combination here. That is called a church, immediately down to the low bar to that pack salto. Slightly short on that handstand. But other than that, I would say great improvement meet after meet from Olivia. She should be very proud of her performance. Beautiful church. She needs to have enough momentum in height to clear her heels on that high bar. Great performance.
And here is Kaylin Chio, the reigning national champion on vault. #1 in the country. All 5 vaults this year, 9.9 or better. And she went 9.975 last week.
And Alex, she has a cat instinct. She is a sticking machine. Her timing is incredible.
Feel the tension here in the PMAC right now. She did it!
She's lights out every single time.
What a way to cap off vault for LSU.
The pop off the table, completely straight arms, the amplitude. You can walk under there and just finds that landing every single time. It's incredibly impressive about her consistency, meet after meet.
Can't do it much better than that. We'll see what the judges think. Olivia Greaves with a 9.775. And Alex Irvine, the anchor on bars for Auburn. They have to count 3 scores in the 9.7s at the moment. And Kaylin Chio just off perfection again with a 9.975.
Alex, such an aggressive bar swinger. Hits that handstand right on top, no question there. And does such a great job with that execution in the air. Feet were glued, legs were glued, and absorbed that landing. She finds that rhythm off of the bar and holds that landing. She got a little bit too excited on her chest, but other than that, she held that landing, which is super important for these athletes to do meet after meet.
Well, it's mission accomplished at this point. Remember, LSU's trying to put every rotation together. They are check next to vault in that box, no question, with a 49.55 and capped off by Chio's 9.975. Now, an average of 9.85 will get you a 197. Average of 9.9 will get you a 198. So that's kind of the area that they are looking to live in right now, closer to that 9.9 average on every single event. And they did get to drop Courtney Blackson's 9.625.
And to get to that 198 performance or higher, that's really going to come down to those sticks, those landings, those minimizing deductions, having those controlled landings. And so far, we're seeing that from this LSU team.
And Auburn, on the other hand, fails to reach 49 for the third straight week. Bars just continue to be a bit of a question mark this season.
They really need to build on that confidence and take this as a learning experience. I would say they actually improved from the previous couple meets on the uneven bars. They need to take that as a win and continue this momentum in this amazing arena, taking advantage of it.
So it is a big lead now here for LSU over Auburn after one rotation. It's exactly how Jay Clark was hoping this would go, as they will head to bars and Auburn will go to vault. Remember, this is an LSU team that, coming off of last year, just a fifth-place finish in the national semifinal. But Amari Drayton with a real showstopper here in this first rotation.
Her height, her amplitude, her distance. And then we got Kaylin Chio, the stellar athlete, the dominant athlete for this team. Sticks it every single time. I love how she spots it. She knows her timing in the air.
Well, when we come back here after one rotation in Baton Rouge, we're going to find out much more about a true partner for Jay Clark, LSU's legendary head coach, Dee Bro. Much more on that when we're back to Baton Rouge. Heights is presented by Sprouts Farmers Market, official healthy grocer of the Southeastern Conference. They premiered SEC Story, The Fighting Tiger, chronicling the impact of Dee Bro. You just saw that. That was earlier this week. We are going to see the world premiere coming up here on SEC Network when we are done. Let's get a little snippet of what you are about to see right here on SEC Network.
Dee from afar, and she was well known and renowned for that energy that she had on the floor. But when I got hired here, I discovered that there was a depth to her that I had not known as a competitor of hers. And she'd been here 35 years when I got here. And a lot of times people are not open to change. But she walked in my office one day and closed the door and said, "I want your opinion on things we need to do differently."
He just was such a diligent and successful recruiter, and everything that he did was first class. And I wanted that energy and that enthusiasm with me.
In my second meet here, she came up to me and put her arm around me and said, "I slept last night for the first time before a meet." I didn't know what she meant. And I said, "Oh, that's great, Coach." She goes, "It's because I have a partner."
Can't wait when we are finished. The world premiere of SEC Story, The Fighting Tiger. Just some of the accolades that could go on the entire meet, honestly, with Dee Bro, the 43-year head coach here at LSU, who fought battles, including just the very existence of this program. The three-time national runner-up was with current head coach for LSU, Jay Clark, for 8 seasons. Brought him in after he was dismissed from Georgia, and did that after 35 years as LSU head coach, made him a true partner, and that is one of the reasons that they won their first national championship back in 2024. 7-10 lead for LSU, second rotation. Welcome back to Friday Night Heights. Alex Perlman, four-time national champion, Anastasia Webb with you. The good news for Auburn is that Emma Grace Boyd's vault was changed from a 9.8 to a 9.85, which means they did reach the 49 mark. 49.0 on the dot, a spectacular 49.55 was the vault score for LSU. So now the Auburn Tigers will head to vault, where they had a 49.1 last week. No scores in the 9.9 range. And this is how they started off with the collegiate debut of Jersey Woolsey, the junior.
She competed a Yurchenko full, which starts at a 9.95 start value. Love the pop off the table, did a great job, and that is exactly what you need to do in that start-off position with that Yurchenko full, absorbing that landing, because these Yurchenko fulls can really make a difference.
LSU is number 2 in the country on bars, but last week a season-low 49.275. Not a bad score, but not up to their capabilities. Lexi Zeiss, they had to count her 9.775, also a season-low last week.
Lots of control on this event. Leads with a lot of discipline. Hits that handstand right on top. This team is number 2 in the nation for a reason, and she leads it off with excellence every single time.
It's a good way for LSU to begin on bars. Bit of a change in this vault lineup with a pre-meet injury on Florida's Sophia Bell. So Jersey Woolsey was put into the lineup. Everybody else was shifted down. Olivia Greaves now with a 9.725 last week. Big hop back. And this is also going to be just a 9.95 start on Yurchenko full.
They have to take full advantage of this event, but unfortunately she does take a huge hop backwards and also 2 steps. Gonna be a huge deduction. Looking forward to 3/10 deduction on that.
Could potentially even be more because she walked right off the mat. 9.875 for Zeiss. Here's Ashley Cowan, who gets put back into the lineup. She had a 9.875 last week. Former SEC bars champion, a real leader on bars the past 3 seasons. And she gets the opportunity to follow up Zeiss.
Massive release move. That is called a rave. Back down to the low bar. You're going to see a lot of these athletes with these combination skills. It limits the number of handstands throughout the uneven bars, and she did a great job on that dismount. Just got a little bit too excited with that chest, resulting in that step backwards.
Here's from warm-ups. Here's what happened to Sophia Bell. You can see her starting her pass. She's been dealing with a bit of a calf injury, according to Jeff Graba, and immediately goes down. Had to be carried off the floor. She will not compete tonight. She is not in any of the lineups. Was slated to potentially do vault and floor. The official word is a lower leg injury, and that will be assessed when they get back to campus.
First 1.5 for the Auburn team. She did a great job controlling that landing. Just that step forward, going to be about a 10th deduction.
Did that last week, had a 9.825 on that vault.
She remains consistent, hits the table a little bit with a shoulder angle, limiting her rotation completely, but kind of shot it forward with that 1/10 deduction.
9.8 and 9.675 at the moment for Auburn on vault. So Olivia Greaves' score, hopefully they would drop. Madison Ulrich now, a 9.95 last week. Season high, she stuck it. This is her only event, and this is someone that finished 6th in the all-around at Nationals last year as an individual with Denver. But she just wants to win.
They call her the stabilizer of this program. You could throw her in any single event, and she will perform. Love that quick pirouette on that low bar. Hits that handstand right on top. Completely squeeze together on that double layout dismount.
Back-to-back 9.875s for LSU on bars.
Floaty hips on this connection adds a 1/10 of bonus to their start value. The legs were completely glued on that dismount, but a little bit too vertical on that chest, having that little bit of a stutter. 10th deduction on that landing.
Jay Clark and his recruiting coordinator, Garrett Griffiths, I mean, they just seem to nail the transfer portal year in and year out. And that is exactly what they did with Ulrich. Now Marissa Neal.
She has such a great pop off of the table and limited her rotation, opened up those arms, and had a controlled landing.
Auburn's starting to dial it in now on vault.
They're trying to get confident here. The height, not as high as we've seen from the LSU Tigers, but much improved from this athlete. We talked about how dependent she is of an athlete on this Auburn team.
She had 3 straight 9.825s. I wonder if that surpasses the mark. 9.9 for Ulrich. She continues to stay hot. That's what Kaylin Chio had last week. She absolutely stuck her dismount down like glue.
Kaylin Chio is looking to build these scores. So far, they've only had a 1.99 on this event. She's looking to have a 9.9 or higher. Caught a little bit close on that release move called a Corkina. But completely absorbs that landing with a stick.
Second straight week she's put it down.
This is called a Corkina. She didn't have enough distance and catches a little bit too close. Feet were completely glued and again absorbs that landing meet after meet. She's incredible.
Just like she did on vault. Back-to-back 9.875s have Auburn on track, and now here's Julianne Huff.
That was incredible. The technique in the air. She opened up a little bit too early, resulting in that 1/10 deduction on that step. But other than that, great job.
And on a 1.5, you really want to step forward and not backward, right?
Exactly. That allows you to have more over rotation than under rotation. And on that vault, it clearly showed that she had under rotation because of that step backwards.
9.925 comes in for Kaylin Chio. So these scores are beginning to build once again. LSU right where they want to be on bars with Ballou and McLean still to come. Nina is making her collegiate bars debut, the former 5-star recruit out of the state of Florida.
She looked stellar in the warm-up, which allowed her to compete in this difficult atmosphere. Takes control on every single release move. Overextension on the dismount, but did have an arm circle. Gonna be up to a 10th deduction almost.
Strong toes though, hanging on to that landing.
Completely clears the bar. You need to have enough height and distance on that release move, but did have good control on that handstand. Was a little bit rushed, but no question there on the legs, and just had that slight arm circle on that landing.
Paige Zancan getting ready to vault. She had a 9.875 last week. The only question with her vault, which is very unique, is she going to get enough height on it to stick it to her feet and not land too low? She did that last week, but this is a very unique vault here.
It's super unique. She's one of the only athletes that performs it. It's a front handspring onto the board, then onto the table. It is incredible. And the most important aspect of this vault, in order to have enough amplitude, is the heel drive and the block off of the table.
See Paige Zancan with that fall at Georgia, but otherwise very solid scores. Almost got a perfect 10 in the season opener against NC State.
You can see her previously. She was just practicing in the air, that block. She needs to have that perfect timing because this vault is so tricky. It's a blind landing, too.
And Auburn, a team that has not reached the 197 mark since that opening meet against NC State. Now this is event number 6 of the season for them, and they will be also going to the Metroplex Challenge on Sunday, the first time that they compete twice in one weekend. So it is going to test their endurance as well.
The speed on the run, the block off the table. Did a great job, but she did have too much power, resulting in that over-rotation, and did have a medium to a large step. Gonna be about a 2/10 deduction. Has a shoulder angle. The legs were separated in the air, and that is gonna be a 2/10 deduction landing because of that large step forward.
Here is Connor McLean to finish out LSU's bars rotation. They cannot score less than a 49.475, which is a huge rotation. You are talking about an average of right around 198 if you get to that mark. 49.5 in every single rotation would mean a 198.
Breathless and fearless bar worker on that release move. That was incredible. Her toe point, her arm positions, the stabilization that she has on the bar, that was lights out.
And she's dealing with a bit of a wrist issue. Jay Clark told us it wasn't serious. She's a 3-time All-American on bars and showing why. LSU's on fire, and that's what they do here at home. They have that advantage.
They feed off of the crowd, but we're going to talk about how they need to perform also on the away meets. This is the incredible Church. She has enough height and distance to clear her rotation. Legs completely glued together. This may be a 10 watch if you tell me, Alex.
We might be on a 10 watch here for Connor McLean. That was pretty close. Auburn finishes up with a 9.775 from Paige Zancan, making their score on vault a 49.175. Just off 9.975 for Connor McLean. We're joined by Auburn head coach Jeff Graba. Jeff, you wanted to see some improvement on bars to start off the meet. What did you think of your team's effort?
Well, I like it. Obviously, we got to learn to land a little bit better, but the execution, the energy level, I was pretty happy with it. We need to learn to walk before we run, and it looks like we're settling down a little bit, so thank goodness.
Jeff, what's most important for your team heading to floor now?
I mean, we got to get the energy up. Vault was good. It wasn't great, but it was good. We're building. The one thing we've been trying to accomplish is learn how to compete, and you know, we started well, and then we got a little bit better. We got to continue to build. So floor needs to step it up.
All right, Jeff, thank you so much for the time,
yep,
as always. Thanks. So we are halfway home here in Baton Rouge, and right now it is a big lead here for LSU. As we head to it, it is almost a 10th. As Sophia Bell, unfortunately injured, she looks on. Good start for the Fighting Tigers here at home. Auburn right now has work to do. Well, this week, Auburn freshman Bryn Torrey tragically lost her brother Declan. And Auburn releasing this statement to us, our team committed to providing Bryn and her family with whatever support they need during this incredibly difficult time, including space for Bryn to be with her loved ones. We care deeply for the Torrey family, and our thoughts and prayers are with them as they grieve this loss. Our condolences as well to Bryn back home with her family and the entire Auburn community. Here in Baton Rouge, just a few days before Mardi Gras. They are celebrating in a big way here in the Pete Maravich Assembly Center, on track to obliterate the 198 mark so far. Hi there again, Alex Perlman, four-time national champion Anastasia Webb. Let's start right there with LSU. They're looking to put a full meet together. Yes, we're only halfway home, but it's mission accomplished at this point.
Yeah, they're looking hot. They're absorbing those landings. It's going to come down to those little details, and they're moving on to one of the hardest events now, the balance beam. So let's see if they continue that momentum. And then we got Auburn. They're continuing to build, and they did lose a really key player, Sophia, and they're going to really have to amp up that momentum and really show what they're made of on the floor exercise.
Yeah, they were looking for a lot of improvement in this meet. And Auburn, I would say, you know, it's been a little bit shaky. Yes, they were better on bars with that 49.0. Vault, just a 49.175. They were looking to do a little bit better there, but they've still got two great events coming up.
Yeah, when we talk to head coach Jeff Graba, they're learning who they are. They're really trying to define their success and figure out who they are as a team. And it's going to come down to this. They're going to have to replace Sophia Bell on the floor exercise.
But good news is that this is one of their best events. They had a 49.4 last week. Can they build on that is the biggest question now for Auburn.
They have to. They have been a difference maker on this event. They had such better technique and amplitude and overextension on those leaps and turns and jumps. It's going to really put them in a good position, and this is where they can make a huge impact.
But Kaylin Chio's the best in the country. Hasn't scored below a 9.925 all season on beam. Does she have another great performance in her? LSU started with a 49.55 on vault. That gave them a 0.5 lead, 5/10, which is huge. They're up to almost a point. Now, as we go to the third rotation, Alex Perlman, Anastasia Webb back with you. And even though that is a monumental number, it's really difficult. Auburn is going to have to hope for some mistakes for LSU. It's not like if you're new to gymnastics that there's no intrigue here, because scoring matters so much. What is LSU going to put up as a final number? Because that could have a say in how they do in the postseason, where they're seeded going into NCAA regionals and into the SEC championship.
And it's going to start off with this event, the balance beam. They are 5th in the nation. They're wanting to grow and continue to improve meet after meet. And it's going to come down to those sticks, those landings, being confident and aggressive on the balance beam, and to really show what they're capable of.
LSU starts on the beam with Lexi Zeiss, leading off now 3 different events for the Fighting Tigers.
Starts off with a aggressive side aerial. You can see that her eyes are completely locked at the end of the beam. Judges are looking for that smooth connection on that front aerial to that back handspring. Had a little bit of a stall on that connection.
I keep saying Fighting Tigers. It's just a way to differentiate it. I mean, Bayou Bengals, we've got Tiger versus Tiger here with LSU and Auburn.
They got to continue to fight and show they're aggressive, because they're trying to compete with the #1 school in the nation, the University of Oklahoma,
and
as they go there next week.
Yeah, that's going to be a big one, 1 versus 2 on ESPN2 next Friday. Oklahoma had a 198.075 earlier against Florida on the road, so they just continue. I mean, 3 straight 198s. That's the type of team that you're competing with.
And they're looking to have 4 out of the 6 sticks on this event, and they're starting off pretty strong with Lexi Zeiss.
Zeiss only moved into the leadoff spot this week, delivering.
This connection was a little bit of a shoulder dip, but the judges are definitely going to give her that connection on that.
Kept everything moving. Should be a pretty good score, especially because to start off on beam, you need a hit, right? You don't need a record-breaking score. You just need to get your team off on the right note, and that is exactly what Lexi Zeiss seems to be doing. I mean, only a sophomore, but week in and week out. All right, Auburn with their highest scored event was floor last week, a 49.4. Tied for 11th in the country, and Bryn Bartman started with a 9.85 a week ago.
We talked about setting the tone. That first position is one of the most monumental positions for these athletes on both of these teams. Did a great job continuing to move forward on that combination pass. Overextension on those straddle leaps. The judges are looking for that 180 degrees, and she did go well above that. These double wolf turns can be extremely difficult, but she did it with ease. She did that wolf turn and get enough bonus in this floor routine. Finishes it off with a double pike, a little bit of a chest forward on that landing. Great lead off though.
That's how Auburn starts on floor. We have some outstanding gymnastics coming your way. Anastasia and I are going to be at Stegman Coliseum for 5th-ranked Florida and number 6 Georgia. Maybe the biggest surprise in a good way in the SEC this season. 7 Eastern, and then followed by the Iron Bowl of gymnastics. Auburn hosting Alabama on the Plains, all on SEC Network and on the ESPN app. Emily Ennis, the senior transfer from Washington. This is her season debut on beam, but she's gone as high as 9'9" when she was with the Huskies.
This LSU team has so much depth. These coaches have a hard time picking which athlete is going to be capable of going. And so far, she is being so aggressive, trying to own this spot and earn her mark in this lineup.
Good problem for Jay Clark to have, however. I think a lot of coaches would sign up for that depth.
Lots of discipline on those leaps. She landed with both of her feet together, allowing her to have more discipline on that landing. Just the dismount, round off 1.5, a little bit over rotation. Would have loved to see that stall on that landing, but excellent performance on that college debut by Emily.
And following up Lexi Zeiss's 9.85, exactly what you want on a leadoff.
This cat leap combination, judges are looking for those hips to be completely up and those heels to be up. Did a great job having her focus right on the end of the beam. Very disciplined.
And now Alex Irvine. She's been part of the floor lineup the last 2 meets. Auburn is going to get some reinforcements, though, towards the end of February on most events. So just because, you know, Tigers seem a bit down and out at this point in the season, just wait.
Super aggressive first pass, landed on that 4-inch mat. Not a deduction, just allowing these athletes to have more of a softer landing when they're performing meet after meet.
Alex is really such a bright spot for Auburn this season. Coming over from UCLA before last year. She is in nursing school full-time. She doesn't even get to participate in practice with the team usually. She comes in the mornings in order to get her work in.
Says a lot about her work ethic and her determination to do well, both inside and outside of the gym. A little bit short on that combination pass. Didn't have enough rotation, but did a great job finessing that landing. Legs are completely glued together, and she does that double stag jump to limit any steps on that deduction of that landing.
That'll bring up Amari Drayton on beam, the junior from Texas, in 9.8 last week. Step back and out of her acro series, which we'll point out once she does it, following up a 9.85 and a 9.825. Can LSU here maybe break into the 9.9 range?
She is such a dialed-in athlete. She oozes with confidence. You can see it from her fingertips, the way that she dances and holds every skill.
Here's that acro series.
She has so much height and hip lift, but a little bit of a balance check on that landing.
It's a required skill, has to be in the beam routine.
So dynamic on those leaps and jumps. And these athletes, they need to move forward, backwards, and sideways on the balance beam. That is also a requirement while they're performing. One of the highest round-off double fulls in the country, and does such a great job absorbing those landings. This team is looking to have 4 out of the 6 sticks, and they're on that track.
You know, this is about the time of year where you really want to start dialing everything in.
Those hips completely just rise over the top, but does have a little bit of a balance check. Her front foot lost a little bit of that stability, which resulted in that balance check. She got to be a little bit more disciplined on that front foot.
Here's Olivia Ahern, back-to-back 9.8s for Auburn on floor. So trying to set up those towards the bottom of this lineup to go big. But remember, Sophia Bell is a usual 9.9 plus score counted as the anchor. And she is out of the lineup due to a pre-meet injury and warm-ups on floor.
Olivia had trouble with this first pass in the warm-up. Very technical pass here, all about timing. No problem. Love the expression, the way she dances throughout this floor routine.
Judges certainly interested in that performance quality.
Round off 1.5 to a front layout. Loved how she continued to move out of that combination pass. The more you move and dance out of these combination passes, the less the judges are able to take. This may be our first 9-9 from the Auburn team. Legs are completely glued, all about timing into that back layout step out. There's that combination pass. Judges are looking for that second skill to be higher than the first, and that's exactly what she did.
Olivia's wanted to be an Auburn Tiger for a very long time. First time on campus, she was just 12 years old at a fall gymnastics clinic, and then came to camps every summer after that, and realizing her dream now. Kalia Lincoln following up the 9-9 from Drayton, so they have reached into that 9-9 range.
They're going to continue to wanting to build off of that score. That's what typically happens with these athletes later in the lineup.
No one was very happy about Kalia Lincoln's score. Arguably should have been higher than a 9.75 last week. Seemed like a better routine, and Jay Clark agreed. Watch for her rhythm in this. She has some rhythm issues that they know about in her routine, and that could have resulted in some of the deductions.
So far, I am not seeing any rhythm opportunities here. She is such a dangerous athlete, in my opinion. When she performs out on the floor, on the vault, on the balance beam, she has a killer instinct, and she is just unstoppable.
Right there, though, a little gap between the leaps. The one thing you don't want to do is give the judges any sort of opening.
Yeah, you're putting everything in the judges' hands. You got to be in control of your own destiny. Back handspring 1.5, and just that over rotation, small hop there, going to be up to a 10th deduction on that landing.
It is very much almost Mardi Gras. In fact, here in Baton Rouge, the Spanish Town Parade is tomorrow. I've seen a lot of pink flamingos in our hotel. Overextension
on that switch half, one of the most difficult leaps in the competition. over 180 degrees, and that dismount, the height, the amplitude, and the distance. Would have loved to see her stall that landing, but did a great job controlling it with that hop forward.
Held on to it right after that. Waiting on Olivia Ahern's score to come in after back-to-back 9.8s. Julianne Hough trying to build on this floor rotation for Auburn. They have a long way to go to get back in this meet, but it all starts here inside the PMAC. One of the meccas, cathedrals, whatever you want to call it, of college gymnastics. It's on everybody's bucket list. And if you get a chance to experience a meet inside this building, you absolutely should.
That was actually one of my goals when I was at the University of Oklahoma, was to compete against LSU in this arena. Never got the chance,
But you
though.
never got to.
Well, now that I'm here, I get to experience
Well, there
it.
you go. Not a bad second option.
First tumbling pass for the Auburn team. Full twisting double tuck, did such a great job on that landing.
Julianne, the only all-arounder for Auburn in this meet.
We talked about her earlier. She has truly engraved and really has taken that leadership role for this team to follow in the footsteps and lead every single athlete to their full potential. Huge combination pass.
You know, she rushed that last meet. Her foot slipped out a little bit. I'd say probably better.
That E-level gymnastics, E represents the level of difficulty. All about timing on that 3-pass combination. Just that little scooch of that forward, but I wouldn't much improve from last competition, Alex.
I would certainly agree with that. Now, Connor McLean, Lincoln's score was in 9.875. They are dropping Innis's 9.825, turning into a very good beam rotation, but they need scores to come in the 9.9 plus range from McLean and Shio. This is a pretty good one, though, a 3-time All-American here on beam.
Connor McLean on the hunt to get another 9.9 to boost this all-around score on the balance beam. She is such a poised athlete. She is going to repeat this combination because of that stall. She looks a little bit shaken up so far on this performance.
Yeah, now what do you do here, Anastasia?
She is needing to boost her start value, and that is exactly why she did that front aerial into that back handspring layout step out. She normally does not do that.
Did she just think of that on the fly?
Exactly. I remember when I was competing, we practiced our backup dance, our backup leaps. These athletes need to be resilient and think in the moment to boost their start value, and that's exactly what she did. A very veteran athlete, unfazed.
I feel like using all that elite experience, the former U.S. national all-around champion. But what does that do with the judges, missing those connections?
She just missed that first connection, but because of that combination of that acro series, she is still at a 10.0 start value. She should be very proud of that performance as she was able to recover from that mistake and knock it out with a bang, I would say.
That's thinking on the beam right there.
There's that misconnection right there, that break. But then she repeats it and boosts up her start value with this acro series, that front aerial immediately to that back handspring layout step out. Tremendous work.
Yeah, tip of the crown right there. Julianne Hough's score was in 9.875. And now Neal and Greaves still to come. If they can post some higher scores and drop the 9.75 from Olivia Ahern, this is going to turn into a floor that, you know, they're looking for. Anywhere in that low to mid 49 range.
Very clean, executed double pike.
Neal coming off a career-high 9.925 a week ago for Auburn against Kentucky.
Would have loved to see a little bit of more of an extension on those leaps. She did a switch ring. Judges are looking for that back leg to be completely over your head. Front tuck through to a double tuck. A little bit of a chest down on that landing. The execution through the air was phenomenal. Maybe just a little slide on that landing. But a lot of these athletes are doing 2 pass routines, and they need to get enough credit and enough bonus on those leap passes.
Just Kaylin Shio to come. Connor McLean's score of 9.675, the one they are hoping to drop. Not bad to count a 9.825 from Innis. Kaylin Shio is the top beam worker in the country, the only 10 this season on beam. Her season low was last week, and it was a 9.925.
Such a tricky beam mount. I remember as an athlete, I would want to do the most basic mount just to get on the balance beam because I would be so nervous, but not Kaylin Shio. Has so much discipline in every skill that she does. She got a 10 3 weeks ago on this event. Alex, we may be on the hunt again for another 10 watch, but I don't want to say it too early.
Yeah, we've still got some routine left here.
Overextension.
You're not holding your breath right now.
I'm just letting the crowd go wild for Kaylin Shio. That was an incredible performance, back to back. Combination, loved how her hips continue to rise. Overextension on that split jump. Pops off the beam, has enough height and distance, and does such a great job absorbing that landing. I don't know if they're gonna give her a 10, but it's gonna be close.
I think the landing might have done it. That was a gorgeous routine regardless, though. Marissa Neal with a 9.85. Can Auburn get a good score from Olivia Greaves? They really need it. We're on 10 watch here regardless here for Kaylin Shio. Seen a couple of 9.975s for LSU today.
Olivia Greaves packed with elite experience. Love that pop on that landing. Cannot take anything off of that. One of the best choreographies on this Auburn team, in my opinion. She just dances with such ooze and really shows off her flexibility throughout this floor routine.
And once again, Kaylin Shio receives a 10 from one judge, a 9.95 from the other. You average those two scores together for a 9.975.
Much improved performance from Olivia Greaves, really handling the pressure. It is difficult to compete in the PMAC. It's loud, it's energetic, and she did a phenomenal job.
That is exactly what Auburn was looking for to cap off a promising floor rotation.
Ladies and gentlemen, a score on balance speed for the LSU Tigers, Kaylin Shio.
LSU's final score in with Shio's 9.975. That is a 49.425 for LSU. They are well on their way to that magic 198 number and potentially even surpassing what Oklahoma, the #1 team in the country, did this week with the 198.075. I mean, this seems like a weekly thing now for Kaylin Chio. She's in postseason form every single meet.
She's got to continue that momentum in the sport of gymnastics. You got to peak at the right time. It's really going to matter at the end of the season, during postseason, and then entering the national championship. She's got to continue that groove that she's got going on right now.
And she just has floor still to come, where she would need a 9.925 for a season-high 39.8, a massive all-around score if she can get there. Just waiting on Olivia Greaves' final tally to come in.
Take a look at that candy. I've never had candy at a competition. Maybe that's maybe how they get so good and get that energy.
You know, I think it varies by gymnast, because we've heard some are absolute candy fiends. Olivia Greaves with a 9.925.
Well deserved.
Nicely done for Auburn with a 49.25. And so they will go into this fourth rotation on a high note, but it is going to be spellbinding what LSU can do on floor. Auburn will go to beam. We've got 3 rotations in the books and still one more exciting one to come. Plenty more from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, coming up right after this. Mission accomplished for LSU so far. One more obstacle remains on the floor for the Bayou Bengals. In the house, you don't want to miss it. LSU in South Carolina. Dee Bro, one of those fantastic LSU icons, 43 years as the head coach here for the LSU gymnastics program. And don't miss SEC Story, the Fighting Tiger, profiling her rise and extraordinary career right here on SEC Network. Full day of basketball on the women's side coming up here on SEC Network on Sunday. Starts at number 5, Vandy in Stegman Coliseum at Georgia, noon Eastern, capped off by Auburn and Texas A&M, 6 Eastern, right here on SEC Network and on the ESPN app on Sunday. A packed out Pete Maravich Assembly Center on their feet and getting set for floor for LSU. Auburn will finish off the meet on beam. Big lead for the home team. Just less than 60 seconds away from the fourth and final rotation. It's a massive lead, over a point for LSU as they look to close out another dominant performance here at home. The judges have been tempted a couple of times with Kaylin Chio giving her 10s, but she ended up with a 2.9975s.
We witnessed 3 9.975s in this rotation so far. Kaylin Chio, such an unstoppable athlete. The overextension, the discipline, the pop on every single event, absorbing each and every athlete. And then we got Connor McLean. such an unfazed athlete. She had a little bit of a wrist injury, but that did not stop her from performing with excellence tonight. The overextension, the legs were glued together and absorbing that landing. Look at that smile, it's priceless.
LSU has gone 3 straight meets, 49.55 or better on floor. 2 weeks ago, they were 11th in the country. Now they've moved up to number 7. This is an area, I mean, historically for LSU, especially when Dee Dee Bro was the head coach, they excelled on floor, and this year is absolutely no different.
You're right, LSU is known for these leg events, but they've been struggling with those landings and absorbing their power and controlling momentum. LSU brings big gymnastics, but big gymnastics sometimes can have some consequences. They gotta control those landings to rank up those scores that they're wanting to on this event.
So here's what you're looking for LSU on floor. They need a 49.45 to hit the 198 mark. A 49.525 would set them to a new season high, which is currently 198.05. So we shall see. Olivia Ahern starts it off for Auburn. You can see that Emma Weary is going to go after exhibitioning last week.
They are 12th on this event. Very disciplined. Could have been a bigger mistake. Did have a loose control on that landing. Didn't have enough pressure on that front foot. It is incredibly difficult to end on the balance beam. You got to slow down your heart rate, really get in the zone, especially in this arena. But does a great job with that round off 1.5, a little bit of a squatty landing on that. That front foot just completely moves outward. Would have loved to see a little bit more pressure on that landing, but again, that could have been a bigger deduction, but did a great job holding on to it.
Judges will take something off there. And now we begin the floor party in Baton Rouge. An early Mardi Gras and Valentine's Day celebration, if you will, here inside the PMAC. Innes, the Washington transfer, led off with a 9.875 last week. She was all Big Ten on floor last year.
We talked about it earlier. LSU brings big gymnastics, difficult gymnastics. Each and every athlete in this lineup does E-level gymnastics.
This might be Jay Clark's most solidified 6. This rotation here on floor.
Starting us off here with a super clean little shoulder shrug on that landing. She knows it was that good.
And you can take that one step forward, right, as long as that foot stays planted, the other foot stays planted?
Exactly. Frontwards is not a deduction. Right there, exactly. No deduction on that landing.
Called a lunge.
Would have loved to see a little bit more overextension on that first leap pass. Not quite 180 degrees. Love the pop on that second double stag jump, limiting the deductions on the landings.
I feel like she had to wait an extra beat just to come down. She got so much amplitude. That's how you want to start here on floor for LSU. We've got some really good meets coming your way next Friday, and it all culminates 9 Eastern on ESPN2. LSU, Oklahoma, 1 versus 2. The last 2 national champions. LSU in 2024 for the first time in program history, and Oklahoma for the 4th time the last 6 years, a season ago. Now Emma Weary making her Auburn debut.
She's a transfer from West Virginia, really making her mark on this Auburn team. Love the discipline, aggressive work. She's really secured this spot when she went up against Georgia and earned a 9.8, and then also followed a 9.825 in that exhibition spot. This may be her position the remaining of the season based on this performance. Overextension on that leap combination to that jump series. Very interesting dismount, a front gainer full. That was incredible from Emma. The overextension on this straddle jump above 180 degrees, and then quickly snaps into that position to finish it off. And then has such a strong kick into that dismount, allowing her to have enough momentum and to have that precision on that landing.
I mean, lineups are far from set, that is, for Auburn. So what you do here might even decide the rest of the season. It's a good routine for Weary, no matter what the score is. 9.925 for Innes to start. Just off her career high. Nina Ballou now, who has hit 9.9 twice in her freshman year.
Huge double layout, but she does tend to have a little bit of a pike down on that landing. Judges are going to be taken off for that, maybe about a 10th on that pike down. But the freshman oozes with confidence throughout this performance. She loves to dance, shows off her expression, really says a lot about Courtney McCool, who's really really ties in the moves to each and every one of these athletes. The choreography is incredible. Legs completely glued in the air, exactly what the judges are looking for.
I think we know what she thinks of this routine.
She's fired up. Great execution in the air, but you can see that pike down, and also that chest was a little bit far too forward. Gonna be a 10th deduction on there, but legs completely glued on that landing, and also that foot did not move. Exactly what the judges are looking for.
And gets the deserved crown. Back to beam we go. Here with Julianne Hough, who is finishing off her all-around night. Though at the moment, it is very much Kaylin Chio's to lose. 9.8, 9.85 right now for Auburn on beam.
A little bit of a balance check on that side aerial layout step out. Extremely difficult to do. You need to have precise foot position on that takeoff. Extremely difficult.
And Julianne also rolled her ankle before the meet against Georgia, which was 2 weeks ago. That has to be difficult to do beam after rolling your ankle.
That's where you continue to build. She's mentally strong on this event. She's really showing off with her confidence. And that's exactly what this Auburn team really needs to do. And they should be very proud of how they continue to progress, especially in this environment. The foot position right there needs to be completely precise. One foot in front of the other, but does have a little bit of a balance check. Lost a little bit of a control on that upper body, but overall, great job.
Kylie Cohen now coming off of a career-high 9.925 last week, really asserting herself in a leadership role on a team that lost a lot of it. A Honda Award winner, greatest gymnast, arguably most decorated, certainly in LSU history, Haley Bryant, though she stayed on as an assistant coach. And then you lose Aaliyah Finnegan, Sierra Ballard, KJ Johnson. Talking about 11 routines there.
Front double full. We talked about a lot of these E pass represents difficulty in gymnastics, E being the highest. Another frontward combination pass, front layout to a front full. This may be one of the best performances that I've seen from Kylie. Wraps those leaps, extremely difficult all the way around. She gets most of her bonus on those leap combination passes. Legs are completely glued, has the perfect timing to get higher on that second skill. Super impressive. Judges are looking for that full rotation on every single jump, and she exactly did that.
Jay Clark telling us that Kylie Cohen was at the top of everyone's board coming into college, but she dealt with injuries as a senior in high school, also in 2024. We're finally seeing what Kylie Cohen is capable of on the mat, and it is very exciting, especially if you're an LSU fan. Julianne Hough, 9.875. Now Hannah Hagel, who is technically the only senior on this team. It's a young one that is growing into this year.
Smooth combination of that front aerial to that back handspring. Has a little bit of a break. She was needing to connect that into a split jump, but does it here. Split to a double stack to a back handspring swing down. Tops it off with a very clean dismount. Loved the control on the landing. A very unfazed athlete on this performance and a veteran for this Auburn team.
Tomorrow morning, the Shriners Children's Clearwater Softball Invitational coverage continues right here on SEC Network. It begins with 10th ranked LSU and UCF. That's at 10 a.m. And then James Madison, number 8, Texas A&M, Sunday. And that's bright and early, 9 a.m. Eastern, also available on the app. Look at what this is turning into for LSU. You can see the grayed out score right now is a 9.925, which means that's what they're dropping at the moment. 5 scores count, the highest 5, and you drop the lowest. But what's the lowest going to be? With Amari Drayton, it could be really high. Her career high, a 9.95 last week. Just as high as that double layout.
One of the best double layouts in the country. Overextension of the hips.
It's amazing. I mean, she really struggled her first 2 meets. She's dialing it in, though. 9.9 plus scores 2 of the last 3 weeks on floor.
These athletes, we talked about precision and also peaking at the right time. She's really finding her groove in all of her performances tonight.
Wow.
Just completely sticks that landing, finishes it off with that lunge, no deduction there.
I mean, that was as straight as an exclamation mark, literally.
I think they're they're going to be dropping another 9.925 in this performance so far, Alex.
I think we might see higher. Not lower. Maybe a lot higher. That was magic.
Overextension of the hips. Does have a pike down on that landing and a little bit of that chest drop. And there's that exclamation mark landing. Does not move in that lunge.
This is a very good beam rotation, though, for Auburn. Back-to-back 9.875s, and just Irvine and Neal to come. She had a 9.85 last week, stuck her dismount. And this could get the other Tigers on a really high note, heading into their biggest rivalry meet, hosting Alabama. That's going to be a really important one coming up next weekend.
This competition so far, I truly believe, has boosted their confidence going into the next competition. Alex really trying to achieve that 9.9. Does such a beautiful combination, switch leap to a one-armed back handspring. We have not seen that from anyone in this competition so far.
One of my favorite skills I've seen on beam this year. And another stick.
This is exactly what this Auburn team needs to command, boosting their confidence, continuing to grow, building on that momentum meet after meet. Love the smooth connection, aggressive connection. Overextension needs to have a lot of pressure on this one arm and needs to be fully aligned, and she does exactly that.
LSU has not scored lower than 9.925 so far on floor. Now, Kaylin Chio had a 9.8 last week, which is her second lowest career floor routine. That is not normally what we see from her. She's gone as high as an almost 10, 9.975. You just get the feeling like Chio and Lincoln are getting built up for it. That's generally what you see, right? The scores in front of you continue to build, and the judges have nowhere else to go.
And the build continues. No question, such an aggressive athlete, full twisting double tuck. Yeah, when we talk to head coach Jay Clark, the last three athletes are solid for this LSU team. They just continue to build off of one another. And I'm telling you, they're 7th in the nation on the floor exercise. That ranking is definitely going to be moving in that upward direction after this competition. All about timing right there. The PMAC is electric.
A frenzy right now. Kaylin Chio has never gotten a 10 on floor. Does she deserve it after this one, Anastasia?
Let's take a look at this landing. That was a clean landing in my eyes. Overextension on those leaps and jumps. That perfect timing right there allows her to have enough amplitude and momentum on that landing. Alex, we may be on another 10 watch, and maybe the first for Kaylin Chio to finally get that 10 that she deserves.
A 10 for Kaylin Chio would tie Jordan Childs' NCAA high all-around score of 39.875.
She gets it.
She did it.
And this is one of the most crucial moments for Marissa Neal.
How do you compete right now?
This is a moment that I will never forget in my career. Going against UCLA, the crowd was going wild. She needs to keep her confidence and her momentum, use the crowd to her advantage. And she is unfazed right now. She needs to use that crowd as if they're cheering for her.
Should have 9-9 in the anchor spot for the 3rd straight week against Kentucky. And held it together beautifully.
Just that under rotation on that landing, but such an incredible beam performance with the pressure, with the noise. Incredible for Marissa Neal.
It's only a 9.975 for Kaylin Chio on floor. The judge held up the wrong sign. Wow. That is not going to engender much love here in Baton Rouge to the judges.
Not at all. Kind of played a trick on that athlete. But it looks like...
Wait, you gotta be kidding me.
Looks like they gave it to her at the end.
What is going on? A 10 for Kaylin Chio for a 2nd time. Why not? Let's celebrate twice. I don't know how you don't give it to her regardless. That was as perfect as it gets on the floor. And Kaylin Chio is justly rewarded. Which means LSU is going to score no lower than a 198.275 no matter what Kalia Lincoln does. And it is guaranteed to be a season-high meet.
But we need to remember, Kaylin Chio just scored a 10. Kalia Lincoln can also repeat and do the same. She is phenomenal on the floor exercise.
If you're going here as Kalia Lincoln and you just saw a 10 from your teammate, how do you, I mean, you have to put that out of your mind in some ways, don't you?
You definitely do, but it kind of sets her up for success. The judges are continuing to build, and if she performs exactly what she is capable of, that was incredible.
She's had 4 straight floor scores of 9.925 or better, so we know she's capable of it.
Love the classical music. Creates more of a suspense throughout this floor routine. Maybe a little bit uncontrolled on those leaps on that definition right there.
The score can get even better potentially with what Lincoln does here. I mean,
no words for this performance. Completely lights out.
you know, there's performances where you do enough and you go after it and you accomplish what you want. But then there are others where you make a statement. And LSU made a statement here on floor tonight.
I'm curious to see what the judges are going to do with that performance. That was completely stellar. The difficulty, the overextension on the leaps and jumps. The PMAC is cheering for that 10-0. Overextension, one of the highest in the nation. Combination pass, just completely absorbs that landing with his stick. A well-deserved performance for the LSU Tigers. They're unstoppable tonight.
Jake Clark and his Tigers put it all together. According to him, for the first time this year, they were looking for this kind of meet, and it's exactly what they have done. Kalia Lincoln's score comes in, and one judge once again gave her a 10, but only one, and another 9.975. Special meet for LSU, 198.325, and now with that score coming in for Lincoln, they drop one of the 9.925s, and we just saw the highest scored floor rotation in the country of anyone this year.
A well-deserved performance. Each and every single athlete controlled their landings, controlled the power, the momentum that they had, a well and improved. And I think, Alex, we can say their leg events are back on top.
Yeah, there's no question about that. Time now for tonight's extra effort, brought to you by Regions Bank. And it's all about the all-around champ, Kaylin Chio.
The phenomenal performance, the block off the table. We call her Sticky Feet for a reason. The all-around score, a 39.875, a career high on this performance. She tops it off on the floor exercise. And her first ever career 10. The suspense that we had from this athlete. Such an incredible moment for Kaylin Chio. And as she's so young too, she has so much more to her growth and opportunity. It's incredible to see her grow as an athlete.
It is amazing to think that she is only a sophomore. We'll hear from her head coach, Jay Clark, get his thoughts on a fantastic meet in every way. He's going to be feeling good here after this massive LSU win. And they are going to be feeling good going into a huge meet next week against #1 Oklahoma.
She is just a machine.
So exciting to watch.
The energy in the arena is electric.
This is presented by Sprouts Farmers Market, official healthy grocer of the Southeastern Conference. A season high 198.325 for Kaylin Chio and the LSU Tigers, the #2 team in the country, putting everybody on notice. Haley Bryant, the former LSU star herself, now assistant coach, absolutely loves it. We'll talk with the LSU head coach, Jay Clark. There he is. Yeah, he's feeling good. I have a feeling that he's going to be quite excited, Anastasia Webb, after that performance.
They're going to want to continue that momentum going into the next competition, which is going to be at Sooner Nation. This is an important competition. They want to build on that performance, especially on the road.
Alex and Anastasia back with you one last time. This is a performance, though, that I think makes a statement. You know, we talked about what they did on floor with the best score that we have seen in the country this year. Oklahoma and KJ Kindler are going to see that.
It's going to be neck and neck. Obviously, tonight we saw such great improvement from this LSU team, controlling those landings, controlling the power, holding on to those momentums when they have those landings on the sticks. But overall, the star herself, Kaylin Chio, has been outstanding tonight, a 39.875. She is the all-around top contender, and I truly believe one of the top contenders in the nation to win the 2026 all-around national championship in the all-around. She is such a stellar athlete.
Yeah, there's absolutely no question about that. And, you know, the SEC Freshman of the Year, could she be the SEC Gymnast of the Year in just her sophomore season? What a meet, and we're joined by the LSU head coach, Jay Clark. Jay, you wanted to see your team put it all together. What do you think of that performance?
Well, they answered the call. We were disappointed. We thought we had an excellent week of training last week and kind of were flat when we came in here, and so we had some good soul searching early in the week and had another great week of preparation, and they came in here and had a complete meet. And I don't care about the score. I talk about just the performance level for 4 events, and we finally had a 4-event fairly clean meet all the way through, and that's really what it was all about.
When I think about Kaylin Chio, she really shows the definition of dominance. What does she mean to you for this LSU Tiger team?
Well, she had me guessing a little bit on bars and warm-ups a little bit. I thought she looked a little bit fatigued, but she, you know, we even toyed with the idea of maybe pulling her on one of the leg events tonight and just kind of giving her a little bit of a mental break. But I told her at the end of that floor routine, I just said, if I hadn't told you lately, I'm glad you're on our team.
That's for sure. Jay, we are about to preview SEC Story, the Fighting Tiger world premiere coming up right after this. Someone that spent 8 amazing seasons with her here in Baton Rouge, working hand in hand. What did she mean to your career, and what did you learn from her?
She picked me up off the garbage pile, man. I needed an opportunity, and she brought me in here and treated me like a partner. And and together we were able to do, kind of move the needle here and get things going and get this place having a big footprint as far as gymnastics goes, and won a few SEC championships together, and then when we won in 24, I wanted to make sure she felt like it was as much hers as anybody's, and so I owe her a lot. I think she brought me in when I needed an opportunity, and then allowed me to, with her, make changes to what was going on here, and she, we worked so well together during that time.
And Jay, now you have the momentum going into a matchup with the defending national champion in Oklahoma. Best of luck the rest of the way and next week.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you.
Speaking of those national champions, how about Addison Feda scoring a 10 on vault? Not the only 10 that we saw here inside the PMAC, because she did it as well.
Such a well-deserved 10 for Addison Feda. She is such a key athlete for the Oklahoma Sooners. I'm surprised it's honestly her first 10 of her career. Such a dominant athlete as well.
And a 198.075 is what Oklahoma posted. But Kaylin Chio is in rare form right now. 39.875 on the all-around, and that ties Jordan Childs for the highest all-around score in the country this year.
Talk about moving the needle. Kaylin Chio moves the needle for the LSU Tigers meet after meet. I'm excited to see them next weekend.
Yeah, you've got both teams that are hitting their stride here in the middle of February. Next Friday, 9 Eastern on ESPN2. LSU and Oklahoma 1 versus 2 in a matchup between the two most recent national champions. Anastasia, what do you make of that? I mean, we're going to be talking about it all week long leading up to that at the Lloyd Noble Center.
If LSU can just copy and paste exactly what they did tonight with a few little improvements on those landings on the uneven bars and maybe on the vault exercise, it's going to be a tough matchup with the Sooners.
There is no question, though, that LSU is going to go into it hungry and think that they can win, and we can't wait for it. Again, ESPN2 next week in Norman, your old stomping grounds. It is going to be a ton of fun coming up. Well, that's what it is. Number 2, number 1. We've been talking about it all season. Everyone's been looking forward to it. We might see it at the end of the year, but what a treat it is to get it in the middle of the season. Tigers and Sooners coming up next week. Well, that will just about do it for us here in Baton Rouge. Coming up next, it's the world premiere of SEC storied The Fighting Tiger. With Anastasia Webb, our entire crew, I'm Alex Perlman saying so long from Louisiana. Enjoy The Fighting Tiger.